So today, BMW announced a brand new, massively updated middleweight adventure bike in the form of the F900GS, with more power, less weight, and better features. This looks like a big improvement, so much so that I reckon it now looks like a pretty serious contender for 2024. So in this video, we'll go through the 7 key things that you need to know about it. The headline change is a hike in capacity, with the previous generation's 853cc parallel twin being swapped out for a bigger 895cc version that you'll also find in the F900R Naked and the F900XR Adventure Sports Tourer crossover. Hence the name change from F850GS to F900GS. Now, one can only assume that there are some efficiencies in streamlining their middleweight lineup to use the same engine, but it's also good news for the punter too, with a decent hike in performance. So peak power goes from 95 horsepower up to 105, and that's produced at 8,500 RPM. That's the exact same as the F900R and XR, and it also makes it a lot more competitive with some of the already awesome bikes on the market, like the KTM 890 Adventure. Torque is also up by a Newton meter to 93, but BMW also claim a boost in torque across the whole rev range, which ought to make it a bit quicker off the mark. It is worth adding that this engine has also been fitted to the F850GS Adventure, now becoming the F900GS Adventure, and also the smaller, lower slung F750GS, which has become the F800GS. And while they do also get a decent bump in power, the rest of those bikes has remained relatively similar. The F900GS though, well, that's the reason that I've focused on it alone in this video, because they've really done a lot of work on it and put it on a huge diet in order to make it look a lot more competitive. The F850GS used to be up near 230 kilograms, which is quite a lot for this category of bike, and not only does that dull its performance on the road, but it also makes it look a lot less appealing for off-roading, especially when you put it next to something more slender but still very capable like the Tenere 700. Now, one of the biggest areas of weight loss is the fuel tank. It's got a new plastic design instead of steel, and they say that this is worth 4.5 kilograms alone. They also took the chance to make the shape a little bit more slender to aid ergonomics, but there is a little bit of a downside, and that's that it's lost some capacity. So the previous gen was 15 litres, this one is 14.5, and so it's bad news if you were looking at this bike as more of an adventure tourer than an off-roader. Thing is though, if you're serious about big miles between stops, then the ample 23-litre tank on the GS Adventure is clearly a much better bet. Now elsewhere, we've got 2.4 kilograms shaved off the tail section with an extremely slim new appearance, which I think makes the whole bike look a lot more aggressive. 1.7 kilograms was saved by fitting this new Akropovich exhaust as standard. 600 grams are off the headlight, 400 alone off the side stand, which is now made from aluminium, and 240 grams was dropped by redesigning the swing arm. Now in total, they claim 14 kilograms has been shed, although comparing the spec sheets side by side, I see about 10, so perhaps there's a little bit of a difference in how they're measuring that, but still, the new curb weight is much closer to the 890 Adventure, which I think must have been a key target for this update. It's a more premium, better spec bike than something like the Tenere 700, and I think that makes it much better on the road, but it's still excellent off-road, and so it really offers the best of both worlds. If this new F900GS is anywhere near as good, then it'll be a big achievement for BMW. Now, another serious upgrade is the suspension, which is now fully adjustable. So externally, the 43mm upside-down Showa fork looks roughly the same as the previous generation, but you've now got rebound and compression adjustment and preload. The shock is still rebound and preload adjustable, and you've got 230mm of travel at the front, 215mm at the rear, and so it sounds pretty well set up now for some fairly serious off-roading. If you're looking to go absolutely wild though, then you might want to consider the new Enduro Pro package, which amongst other things includes a fork upgrade. This one's thicker, stiffer, 200 grams lighter, has more range of adjustment, and has a titanium nitride coating on the sliders. Now at the rear, there's no upgrade available, and you can't get the dynamic ESA electronically adjustable shock that is an accessory fit on the GS Adventure and the 800GS. Perhaps that new swing arm design means it's no longer compatible, but much like the tank capacity, it really does feel like they've shunned touring and distance comfort in favor of making a more thoroughbred off-roader. You'll see the same in the ergonomics as well. You've got a new handlebar position, which is 15mm higher than the previous gen, and there's also the option to go another 24mm up with that Enduro Pro package that I just mentioned. Then Then you've got that more slender fuel tank, you've got the Enduro foot pegs as standard and they sit 20mm lower, plus you've got adjustability in the gear and brake pedals as standard now. Clearly, all this stuff is geared towards making the F900GS much more comfortable in the standing position for sustained periods of time. From an electronics perspective, you still get the same 6.5-inch color TFT display, which is good news in my opinion. BMW makes some of the best, most readable Speedos in the business. And this is a perfect point at which to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, Speedo Angels. If you scratch or damage one of these TFT displays, it can cost a pretty penny to replace. From my research for this particular dash, I found prices in the region of $1,350 or just over £1,000. Speedo Angels dash protectors though cost just a few quid, and they've even been kind enough to give me a 20% discount code specifically for my viewers, which you can find down in the description along with a link to their website. They also make products for most new bikes from all the major manufacturers, so do check out the link to pick up yours, and once again a massive thanks to them for their support. Otherwise, in the tech department, you still get the rain and road riding modes as standard, and the dynamic accessory pack opens up some extras like dynamic for the road, enduro for off-road, and enduro pro, which I would imagine switches everything off. Traction control and ABS are lean sensitive, and you get some neat features as standard like their dynamic brake light, which warns traffic behind if you brake in hard, and dynamic brake control, which kills the throttle in the same situation to prevent accidental application if you're frantically squeezing on the brake lever. Things like their SOS button and keyless ignition are available in the accessories catalog, as well as Bluetooth connectivity, so there's pretty much the works on offer for this bike. One of the other big successes, I think, is the styling with a much more svelte and aggressive appearance, which I think will make it a lot more appealing on the market. Personally, I do think it looked, fine before, quite a nice looking bike, but now it's a lot more of a menacing appearance with the minimal tail, the tall stance, and the more chiseled bodywork. The headlight is a big change too. It used to have the sort of asymmetrical design like all GS's, but now it looks much more in line with the rest of the F900 lineup. There is a practical reason too. They say that the opening angle is much wider and that gives better visibility directly in front of the bike, so again, off-road riding seems to be front of mind. I'll also heap some praise on the new color choices. You've got the standard black model of course, but that Sao Paulo yellow version is absolutely banging, and the GS trophy option always looks good on this bike. All round, I reckon they've done a really good job of sprucing this bike up. Now they're available in dealers from early 2024 and the starting price will be £11,999. It is a big hike on the previous generation 850, which was well under 11k, but it does look like a significant step up in terms of spec and performance and desirability, and also it's right in line now in terms of price with the 890 Adventure that I've mentioned plenty of times in this video. Worth it? Well, we'll have to wait and see until we ride one, but it certainly looks promising to me. As always, I'd love to know what you think of it though down in the comments below, so do let me know. If you're new here and you want to see more of the latest motorcycle news right here on YouTube, then do hit subscribe. A massive thanks for watching today, and we'll see you in the next one.